Okay, so drink a little bit of my coffee. Hold on, y'all. Grand Rising, Rich Rising, Great Rising. I hope y'all doing well. Now this is kind of gonna be a this is gonna be a sensitive topic for some, but this is something that it definitely was a sensitive. I mean, it is a sensitive topic for me, but um, I have really like. I feel like number one, with this full moon, I really feel like it was a DNA upgrade. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I feel different. And the way that I was able to break down my trauma lately has been so impactful for me. So I really want to share it with you guys. I'm real comfortable in the robe, you know what I'm saying? Just, real cozy. It's moon day, it's Monday. And I just want to connect with you guys and, this moon energy, this emotions. Um, this is a good day to work on this too as well. Now, I just do want to give a disclaimer and say that healing takes time. Do not think that because I can be very blunt and straightforward. So do not think because I'm being blunt or straightforward that you have to do your journey this way. You have to heal this way. You have to do this. No, this is none of that. This is just me telling my story in hopes that somebody can relate and it can help somebody and it can help you to understand your trauma better and to understand how you are not your trauma. Okay? So, um, what did I title this video? Basically, pull yourself out the past to break your patterns, breaking your toxic patterns. Okay, so first and foremost, I would say when it comes to trauma, we have to look at, okay, well, what is a pattern? Like, what do I mean when I say pattern, okay? What I mean when I say pattern is usually we come into this life, and I'm going to reference this all to my life because this is going to be a personal video. I'm going to, go in depth. So bear with me. Take your time. 222. Get you some coffee if you need to. Get you some water. Get your breakfast and sit and just listen, okay? Feel free to comment. We could talk, whatever, however. I also want y'all to let me know too if it started breaking up. But yeah, let's just get right into it, okay? So I had wrote some things down too, so I do have my notebook, but I wrote some things down as I've been healing through my journey. So I want to bring these things up and just break it down from the jump. So when we talk about a pattern, okay, what is a pattern? A pattern is something that is like something that we do habitually, or maybe you could say like a ritual, because ritual is something that you do often, right? But a pattern is really something that, like a program, right? The program that you are moving in. So when we come into this life, we sign soul contracts. We sign contracts to agree to live the life that we living. You know what I'm saying? We signed up for this, right? You ever hear people be like, "Oh, we signed up for this. I'm built for this. I got this. I signed. I knew 333. I knew. You know what I'm saying? My soul knows. You feel me? And that's too when they say that understanding. Instead of understanding things with your mind, you got that understanding in your soul. Okay, so that's just a little breakdown of that. Now, um, when it comes to breaking your pattern, breaking a program, it is not easy. And that's why I tell people the answers seem simple, but it takes time. Okay, so um I've been healing from this mother wound for a while, and I'm gonna go through like the different stages, like because in the beginning it was like, so let me just go, because I don't want to lose my place. So I'm going to just start there, and then I'm going to go take it back. But I was going through a lot of different stages because at first it could be anger. At first it could be resentment. It could be bitterness. And then as we heal, sometimes we can still hold on to those things and not realize it, right? And resent the people that were traumatic in our life or harmed us or made us feel like, just not safe, okay? So like I said, when we're born into these lives, 444, not me catch all the angel numbers today. About to be a good day. I'm doing a collective reading after this too. I did one yesterday. That energy was on point. I think I'm gonna do a love and a what's the name today? A love message and a general message. But yeah, so as we get born into this world, we get born into our families, and a lot of times, a lot of us deal with different traumas, and like trauma is something that is like when you can go across the board, damn near everybody got trauma. So it's not to say that anybody's trauma is more than anybody else's, um, but some situations I feel like can be more triggering, especially depending on how close the relationship is. And when it comes to my situation, so taking it back to when I was born, and just being a little girl, I always was like an outsider, like like literally like I can't ride a bike or skate, so I always was in the house playing with my Barbies, just spending one time with myself. My mom really didn't allow me to have friends at the house, shit like that. Like I was just always alone, right? But I wasn't really bothered by that. You know what I mean? Like it didn't really I didn't think it really bothered me, or I really didn't even pay attention to it. I feel like I really never even understood the importance of that interaction that I should have had and that connection that I should have had with my parents until I actually, you know what I'm saying, grew up and was in the world. So as a kid, I always was just to myself. I always was in my room, working on stuff, drawing, just being creative, talking to my dogs. Even now, as I talk to my parents, they tell me things that it's like, wow, like I wish I knew that about my childhood because it would have helped me a lot with my spiritual journey. But me and my parents really didn't have a close relationship until like this last year, like these last 2 years, and our relationship really started. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, this eye is already watering. I might get emotional, but I'm not getting emotional right now. It's just y'all see I did my makeup. You feel me? Beats to the cause. Okay. But yeah, and this eye be watering. I don't even know why. That's why I ain't put no lashes on. But yeah, so growing up, like I pretty much was always to myself. I didn't mind that, but I feel like I thought I didn't mind it, but when I got older, I realized like how much I didn't connect with other people, how much I didn't understand other people's family dynamics, how much I was wishing to have connection with my family, like when I would go to see other people, because when we grow up, we just think it's our family, and we just think that's what the fuck it is, and that's just law, you know what I mean? And it's just not. So, and I really never went to any friend, nobody, like I didn't have friends. My mom was like, oh, you can go to their house. Like I was a child that was like, my mama told me damn near no for everything. I was used to get in trouble in school, and like my mom was she favored the boys better. She would say they was her favorites and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And then even like certain little comments she'll make, like, oh, when you was a baby, I called you a B word, like shit like that. It just be like, what the fuck? But even just growing up, like I always felt distant from my mom. Even just down to the fact that like I remember this was one of the biggest things I used to tell her, like why would you not let us sleep in the, like lay in the bed with you, or why would you not let me come in and sit in the bed with you? Like I feel like it wasn't really till I had my child until I started to really start to analyze, like I don't understand, like because at first I used to just be like, I was just kind of numb to it. I feel like I wasn't really dealing with it, I wasn't really talking about it, I wasn't really facing it. I was just numb to it, and I didn't pay attention to it because it was just like I had no reason to. I feel like all my life I always was just focused on hustling, getting money. Like even when I was in high school, I never even thought about like college. I ended up going to college. I had went a summer semester and everything. As soon as I graduated, I was trying to leave the house as soon as I could. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't really my goal. I just did that because I wanted to please my parents. So you want to please that's what you naturally grow up to do. You want to please our parents. You want to make them happy. They think I should do this, oh, I might as well try this because they think so. Like, so fast forward me having my son, and it was just like that was very much like awakening to me. I don't feel like because I had a heart chakra awakening, and I'm gonna talk about that on a whole nother thing, but a whole nother video. But and even like a kundalini awakening. But we can talk about that on another video because that's gonna be too much for this video. We already at 9 minutes, and I ain't trying to make it too long. But yeah, so like I never even really just thought about that shit. I always just kind of like I just kind of just always resented her, and always just thought like, and I didn't even realize it was resentment, but I was just very distant with my parents. I wasn't close at all. Like I just looked at them as like even after a while, I started to call my parents distant friends. I'm just like, I don't fuck with them like that. Cause that's as I would see people and their parents, I would just be like, that's not the type of relationship I got with my parents. Like, we is distant friends. I fuck with y'all, you know what I'm saying, from a distance, but I don't fuck with y'all. You feel me? So, and it was just like, even when it came to, I feel like because I grew up like that with them, even when it came to me going out and I was in school and building relationships with people was hard for me because my first beginning relationships with my family was not good. And I grew up with two brothers in the house with me, and we was all different ages. We was, what I'm saying, like we was all in school at different times. We wasn't even in school together, so we was set apart. So I just kind of was to myself, and I was the only girl. Also too, like, even now breaking down the narrative of my family, it's like I'm always the one that's like, oh, she's so extra, or she do this, or she do that, she do this. So family doesn't realize, like, even those little things build trauma, you know what I'm saying, on kids. So growing up, it was just like, I always was stood apart, even from the family. It always was just like that. 11-11, period, turn up. And I never really even minded it. Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and lie like I was miserable or nothing like that. Like, no, I wasn't miserable. I really just was kind of numb to it because it wasn't that I was not feeling, you feel me? Like, I was just like, fuck it, like, it is what it is. I wasn't even, who give a fuck? Like, I was just young, kicking shit. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that. I'm living my life, right? So when I had my son, that's when it was just like, as I was connecting with my son, I used to just be like, damn, like, I don't understand. Like, I know I would vent to a lot of my friends, and I would just be telling them, I was trying to make sure the phone was plugged up, but I would just vent to a lot of my friends, and I would just be telling them, like, I just don't understand how she could treat me the way she do, this, and that, and even, like, down to, like, just things that would happen. Like, I remember her telling me I wasn't, like, oh, you don't deserve this type of man, and, like, all type of little envious, jealous ass shit. And it was just like, people want to, people who do stuff, and, like, that's why your words and shit is so powerful. That's why I always say to observe people and don't react, because you never know what they going through. You know what I'm saying? This is why in this video I'm gonna explain it, because I'm not bashing my family in no way. You know what I'm saying? When we grow up, our parents are our guides. You know what I'm saying? They're our guides, literally. So they are, I wrote this down. They are guiding you to your truth, right? No matter how they had to do it, whether you dealt with molestation, whether you dealt with physical abuse, like, even shit like that, like with my dad, we didn't have no good relationship. Even he would, like, get physical with me. So it was like, I feel like when you don't have that good family dynamic, you're not really shown that in the home, you build certain type of traits. Even just listening to music, getting things from wherever I was getting it from, you know what I'm saying, or the friends or the people, the boyfriends that I had, all type of shit. I'm getting all this different, you know what I'm saying, but it ain't really that much, and it's not no wise counsel when it's coming from a kid perspective. And like, that's why with my son, I check in. Like, I want to know how he's thinking. What is he thinking? What's on his mind? What program is he in? What he got going on? Like, especially with these kids nowadays, I find even with certain games he'll play, I have to tell him, you only can play so many hours, because he may be, his might too much violence on his mind. He may be put in a program of violence or whatever the case may be. So when your parents are not checking in with you, seeing what you're thinking, you just developing whatever the fuck you want to, and you may be becoming numb. You may, like, I really wasn't even tapping into my emotions at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I would be hurt. Yes, I would cry. Yes, I would be in my feelings. Yes, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would be a lot of big blow ups. Like, I remember getting kicked out on Thanksgiving one time. Like, all type of shit. And I had friends, but it was like, like, nobody was no counselor. Nobody was really able to help me heal it. They was just there for me going through tough shit. So fast forward, and when I started my spiritual journey and I started taking spiritual baths, like, my grandma and my grandpa came to me, and, like, they just held me literally. Like, I swear to God, y'all, I see, I see real good. I'm a seer. I see, okay, and I'm a medium. I can see. So I seen them, and they just came to me, and they was just like, you know what I'm saying, like, everybody got their battles, and they was just explaining to me because I just really was stuck in a victim mindset, and it's like, yes, I had a lot of right to be, but at the same time, am I gonna let them hinder me in my life? And they did this to me. Why would I let it hinder my life? You know what I mean? So, hey, Grand Rising. So it came to the point where it was just like, when my grandparents came to me in my spiritual bath and I started my spiritual journey, you know, I was wanting to just come to a place of love. So I was working on it, journaling how I felt, doing stuff like that, burning it. But never really, like, sometimes I would try to confront and speak, but it would come out as either anger or it would turn into arguments. And like that is another thing too, where when you're trying to heal from trauma, hey, when you're trying to heal from trauma, it could be very triggering to talk to the person that caused the trauma, you know, because most times it's like with my mom, she's the main, like my parents, they, like, even just, we from New York, and even just my whole family dynamic is like a lot of realists, you feel me? So it's like, when it's a lot of realists, it's like, motherfuckers don't give a fuck about, they ain't talking about no feelings. Like, make it make sense is what they talking about. What's the purpose of the conversation? Like, that's the energy they coming with. So it was very hard for me to heal that wound. And just till this year, I'm realizing, like, well, last year around the holidays, I was spending time around them, and I was just realizing, like, dang, like, why do I keep wanting to walk away or not spend time? Like, why do I keep wanting to distance myself? You know, so, because even, especially this year was, well, 2022 was a year of me really learning, like, deeper on the law of attraction, how our minds work, programs, matrix, learning all this stuff. So at this time in the holidays last year, I was just like, okay, so I'm trying to analyze, like, what is this? Who are y'all? Let me look at y'all from my new brain and see, like, as I'm healing my program and looking, let me look at y'all now. Let me see what does this look like now that I'm in a more healed state. And honestly, like, I'm not gonna even lie to y'all, like, I done had experiences where, like, I remember one time when they kicked me out, before I even started my spiritual journey, I seen them turn into something else, as in shapeshift, but I didn't know what that was, so it just creeped me out, and I just kind of was like, I'm not thinking about that. Like, I just kind of let it go in my mind because I wasn't even into the spirituality thing then. So when I started my spiritual journey, even then I thought about it, I was just like always thinking that they was against me. Even my first ever tarot reading I ever got, before I even knew what the fuck a tarot reading was, because we was raised Christian. That's another thing. Being raised in religion really fucks you up. Yes. You gotta, even if you can't stay this whole video, you gotta listen to it. I'm telling you, because this was something that I feel like, wow, like, I really feel like I gotta upgrade my DNA, because the understanding I got and the understanding I got is just different. Like, and when I break this shit down, it's like, even just hearing it's like, for me, it's the language. Because I can't heal something until I feel like I got to the root of it. And that way it won't manifest again in my life, you know? So, so yeah, it was just like, oh shit, let me drink some of my water. So, going back to, like, looking at them, observing the pattern, it was just like, damn, like, I wasn't even noticing that I had to constantly be in defense mode, because everybody always is against me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would always be like, oh, why you... And then once I started my spiritual journey, I was very open. I'm very vocal. You know, like, I want to help people. So, of course, I want to help my family. Of course, I want to, you know, because I'm still looking at a false... I'm still looking from a false sense of love, because y'all taught me how to love. So, I'm thinking that y'all love me. And y'all really is showing me an abusive type of love, but this is what I know as love, right? So I'm coming to y'all as, oh, look, I'm learning this, and I'm telling y'all, like, y'all gotta listen to me. You know, I'm trying to wake them up. But as we know, most of the people, first of all, religion, they not waking up. They I'm not gonna say they're not waking up, but it's very hard to break someone of an older generation that is Christian, that's believing in Christianity. It's really hard for them to see a point of view. But I'm not even thinking about this. I'm just thinking, I feel like it was really just my inner child. Like, I want to tell my parents what I know. I want to help them. I want to help us. Because even when I was a child, I brought them to the church. They started going to church because of me. When I was a kid, I said I wanted to go to church, so everybody went to church. So I'm thinking, maybe this is the same thing. Like, maybe I can save y'all from this bullshit too, because we done elevated. But no, that's not the case. And it wasn't until this Christmas that it was just like, when I see my mom just call me a demon, entity, all this type of stuff, and I'm just looking like, and I knew in that moment, like, I had to literally observe, but it was so triggering to me. I'm just like, why is this triggering me? But this was the first time that I never even reacted, but I'm just sitting here like, and even just when I first moved away from Christianity, when I first moved away, when I had my son, it was like, I'm so glad. When I first had my son, like, the whole church, I used to speak in front of church and everything. They kicked me out the church. They said I can't come to the church no more because I had a baby out of wedlock. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I just couldn't believe that somewhere I just thought that just loved me so much just threw me to the trash like that. I'm like, God damn, because I had a baby? Well, I wish the nigga stayed with me too. Like, what the fuck? So, yeah, so that was, like, heartbreaking. And then plus, too, I'm praying, shit not happening, like, what's going on? So I was just like, no, this ain't working for me. But, yeah, so fast forward to this Christmas. And I'm really just observing the whole dynamic, like, and I'm just looking at her, like, because we went to I know, y'all seen I did that vlog. We went to the Shenyang, the show, the Asian show. And they were shape-shifting in the Asian show. So after that, like, I'm just hyped up because, first of all, y'all, don't judge me, but I didn't even know what the fuck shape-shifting was till this year. And I've been seeing the shit and didn't fucking know what I was seeing. I just thinking I'm crazy. I'm like, I am crazy as hell. I'm high, or the shrooms. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm crazy. Why am I seeing people turn into act? Like, what is this? And I didn't even know that it was shape-shifting. I didn't even think to really research it until one of my friends was like, girl, you seeing people shape-shift? That's a gift. And I'm like, I'm in my room with the lights out because I'm scared because I'm seeing shit, right? So even then, especially this year, my gifts was heightened to really hear. And we be hearing as thoughts most of the time. And that was triggering for me too, because I'm hearing shit and I'm like, is that me? Like, what the fuck? And then when I realized it wasn't me, it was like, okay, that was very relieving too. But we came home from the show, I'm trying to tell my family, I'm like, bro, y'all need to wake up. Like, because it's just like when you care about somebody, even though they done did this trauma to you, whatever the case may be, when you really care about them, you want to try to help them. Just me, period. I just like to help people. It's just my, like, why you think I'm on this damn channel? That's what I want to do. So, but when it comes to family, it's a different story. So when we was talking about the shape shifting, and I'm just telling them, like, bro, we're gods, bro, like, da 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 da. And even then, like, my mom, she would say things that would make it seem like she was agreeing with what I was doing, but then she would flip it, and it would be like a in and out thing, and it would just be like, but you can't, like my dad, he was just kind of like, oh, that's just blasphemy, da da da. And I'm just like, nobody, and then it's just the fact that they would want to question me as in like an interview type shit, but then shoot everything I say down. Why are you even asking me if you gonna fucking? Why is you asking if you gonna deny every fucking thing I'm saying anyway? But I'm not even thinking like this. I'm just still thinking from that inner child. Like, I just want them to get it, So I'm telling them, like, I'm seeing this. This shit is real. I need to wake up. We ain't control our reality. I'm telling y'all, I'm changing my life right now. Literally, examples, da-da-da. And they just looking at me like, what the fuck? Like, so then she started calling me a demon, entity, praying over me. And then it was just like, whoa, like, it was really triggering for me. And I was just sitting there. And then I remember I was talking to somebody, my partner or whatever, and I'm talking to him, and I don't even know what happened, but I got so triggered. But I was really triggered by that situation because I didn't react in that moment and speak up for myself, and I just kind of was just like, trauma response to be to freeze. So I was just like, yes, when it's family, it's very different. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? So I was very just in a froze mode, and I was just looking at the shit like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no way you calling me a demon right now. Like, what? But I was just like, I know the fuck I am. So what the fuck is that talking? What are you talking about? So Needless to say, I get in the car and I'm talking to my partner and I get triggered about something else. But really, I was really still mad about that shit. And I should have spoke up for myself in that situation, but I didn't. So it transferred over to the next conversation. And I was just going in. And I was just like, you know, in my dark feminine, like just going in. And I'm just feeling like I had to protect myself. And I'm just like, when I took myself back and looked at that situation, I'm like, that wasn't even worthy of that. And when I started to look at, okay, this is coming from me being mad at my family. This is something to do with my family. This ain't got nothing to do with this. This is something to do with my family, right? So I'm just sitting there like, damn, like, because I'm just watching it. Because I've been doing this thing where my higher self be analyzing my lower self. And I just be like, okay, you tripping. What's going on with that? Like, and we be working together. So we was talking and I was just like, bro, like, why did you just go crazy like that? You broke your bracelet. You yelling. You angry and shit. What happened? And when I actually sat there and talked to my inner child, and it was just like, it was the disrespect. It was the wanting to be heard, wanting to be seen. Nobody heard me, right? So as I started to analyze that, I'm just like, damn, this is a lot. You know, I'm like, I need some space. I need to get away. When really Spirit was like, no, you need to be in this shit, to face this shit, to get over this shit. So I'm like, oh my God, Spirit, no. Exactly. Meanwhile, I'm a fucking adult. Okay, so the comment for y'all watching it later said, I didn't want to come off disrespectful. And that's another thing too. Like, every time I say anything about anything I believe, it's disrespectful. Meanwhile, you want me to respect your beliefs. That's dead ass wrong. That's dead ass wrong. Like, who give a fuck if you my family or not, right? We about to get into it. We about to get into it. And this shit is already getting long. But it's just gonna have to be long. Because it's just, you know? So, and I'm gonna do like how well, let me just keep going before I forget where I'm at. So, yeah, so that shit was triggering as fuck. And Spirit made me have to be around them even longer. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? Because, first of all, I'm supposed to be moving to California. So I'm like, I'm ready to go. Like, what? Why am I having to be, like, it's just something that keep coming up, and then this, and then this, and then this. And then now everything finally worked out, but I realized, like, I had to sit with this Cancer moon and deal with this shit. You feel me? Like, and Cancer rules over your mama, all that wounds. So I'm like, here we fucking go. So I've been healing, like, all week, all year. Okay? All year. Having moments of like crying and shit. I just been, you know, surrendering to it. Like, but last night, so I was making on my Patreon, I'm gonna have videos about questions you can ask yourself to heal your chakras. And it's basically like checking in, and it's like probably about like 20 questions for each chakra. And then as I was doing the videos, it was just like, it was just triggering me, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what in the fuck? So I'm like, bro, like, you know how you think you done heal? You just like, okay, am I not like, so, and I remember my homegirl pulled cards for me the other day, and she was just like, resentment came up, and I'm just like, bro, I'm not trying to hold no resentment, and I've been trying to release, you know, I've been taking a lot of baths. I'm like, how is resentment still coming up in my energy? So I feel like with me not speaking up for myself and that's where the problem lies, right? And me and my partner been going through some issues too. And literally like last night I was realizing like I had just really just voiced how I felt to him. And I just realized like I never was able to voice how I felt as a child. And that was what the fucking problem lied. And that was where it was just like, if you can't say how you feel, and I remember like even when I first did my shroom trips, like I'm gonna go into detail on that too, but like it made me feel so many emotions that I never felt before in my life. And it was just like, bro, like how am I even living right now? I'm living like a zombie. Like I'm not even in tune with myself. This is crazy. And like it just was a lot of eye-opening moments. So I'm like, damn, like that was really the root of it. Like I was never able to really voice my opinion. And when I did voice my opinion as a child, either I was whooped, told it was, or just invalidated constantly. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why it's so important to reaffirm your kids, to start them with affirmations, because so much it be that, our parents be critiquing, like especially with me, it always was a critique. It always was something wasn't right. It always was to do this, do that, fix this, fix that. So naturally, I was going through life, and in all my relationships, I was in my head thinking that this person was critiquing me. This person is judging me. This person is my enemy because this is how I looked at love, right? So, and that shit really just that shit was deep. And like last night, I really just broke that shit down, and I was just like, just talking to myself about the situation. And where am I at? Because I want to really just use that next. Yeah, so my biggest thing, I feel like for me, that helped me to understand it and understand it in my spirit and my soul, because understanding it was not, obviously I've been understood it, but I didn't understand it. So now that I was understanding, I was like, okay, instead of responding, it really starts with, instead of instead of reacting to people, respond. But I feel like I was stuck into the observe. So first we gotta observe, right? But I feel like I was stuck in the observe, and I was just like, okay, well, I didn't know. My inner child was like, I want to speak up for myself. I want to speak up for myself. I want to say something. I want to defend myself, but I didn't know how to. And then every time that I would, it would turn into an argument, or it would turn into I'm disrespectful. It would turn into really heated. It would just turn into really bad. Like, and I was just like, you know what? It got to a point where I was just like, I don't want to argue with y'all. I love y'all, I respect y'all, and it's just like at this point. But it's just like, if you respected me, you wouldn't you wouldn't try to silence me. You would respect my views, I would respect your views, and we both would just respectfully not talk about it, instead of you trying to demean my views and make your views just the right way, right? So for me, it was like, I feel like now, literally, because this week I was changing my thoughts about the situation, and literally they was changing. So I'm like, because I was just like, let me test it out, because I know the law of attraction works. I know I can change my environment. I know I'm creating this shit. I literally just started to look at them in a better light, and shit just started to change. But yesterday when I came home, or no, 2 days ago when I came home, it was like, I don't know what the fuck was going on with the energy on Saturday, but I wasn't on no shrooms. I haven't smoked in like a week or so. But I seen them. Like, I seen a spirit. Like, I can even cry right now. Like, I don't even want to talk about it to go too deep with that shit. But I seen them for who they was. And for me, like, that is the thing about this, having a gift and being able to see and being able, it could be very heartbreaking, because our emotions add that fog. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, our emotions is not really real. They're real, but it's like, I only built this because you raised me. You know what I mean? I didn't build this connection because you just the best thing. No, you raised me, so I naturally have an attachment to you. And that's what it was, an attachment, because it's not a connection. We're not connecting because you only talking about your beliefs. I'm not even allowed to voice my opinion. You feel me? So it was just like, when I seen it for what it was just like, I just was like waterworks, crying. It was just so much. But I feel like my inner child was still wanting that acceptance, like wanting them to allow me to speak up, or allow me the space, or even just to waiting on them to give it to me instead of getting it myself, right? Too much in my soft feminine energy, and I should have been more in my dark feminine energy, okay? And that day when I did the Take Several Seats reading, like, and it's just been a lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of spiritual shit that it's like, you really got to listen when people talk to you, and then watch how they treat you. Because like with my mom, it was, okay, you battered me. And then in the spiritual realm, we warring, because I can't even sleep around you. So I know shit is going down. I know we in a spiritual warfare around this motherfucker. And battle, like, for real. And when I come around you, I feel it. You know what I'm saying? And when you really spiritually in tune, you feel that shit. Even if you're not spiritually in tune, you feel it. You may not know it. You may not be able to identify or be able to really clarify what it is, But when you get really in tune and you can clarify and you can call a spade, that shit be hurting when it's people that you fuck with, it's people that you love. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, then you gotta, okay, so now what the fuck is this? Because it ain't love. This ain't real love. Because if our spirits and souls is not aligning, this ain't healthy for me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to really break that attachment on this full moon. And last night, because I feel like I was breaking it. But I feel like I was breaking it, and I was more so, that's where that little bit of resentment was still coming in. Because for me, it's like, and I don't know why this arises in my spirit, but when, like, even all year I was dealing with a lot of separations, a lot of betrayals, and seeing things for what they was, and it would anger me. It would really anger me. And I was just asking my spirit, I'm like, damn, like, why am I getting angry behind this shit? Like, why am I like, why is it causing an emotional reaction? And it was so crazy. Like, my mama, she, like, when I first, like, probably like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, she was like, oh, you, like, she'll say little shit like, oh, you know, birds is really, they monitoring spirits and animals. And then it's just like, it just be little shit that she would say like that. And not only that, but me seeing her in the spiritual realm, having visions, seeing, it was just so much. You know what I'm saying? It was overwhelming. Like, imagine, this is your mother. You love your mother. But you see her as this dark individual in the spiritual realm. You see her as against you because that's not what you're doing. Like, you see her for what she is. You see that when you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit, I'm not going to keep talking about it, but when you can see that shit with your third eye, it hit different and it hurt. And a lot of people, you know, they choose to ignore that shit. And they just, you know, I love it. It's my mom. I'm just going to, no, you got to really be able to face whoever the fuck it is. You got to be able to face that shit. So, last night, I was just going through the questions, and I think I was on either third eye chakra or heart chakra, one of them, and I was just like, damn, like, I just started breaking down as I was writing the questions down and about to do the video. I'm just like, okay, so what the fuck? Like, I'm like, here we go. Like, what's going on? Like, you know how it be on your spiritual journey. That motherfucking roller coaster be crazy as fuck. So I'm like, bro, here we go. Like, what is going on? Like, why am I, what is this? So I started to dig deep, and I'm just like, okay, this is this coming up, and this is why I don't feel safe, or this is why I don't feel this. And just understanding that too, I also seen another moment. Yes, and it could be really heavy. And like, I also seen another moment where she was sitting on the couch. Her mama called her. Her mama said, because my grandma, her mom, which is my grandma, of course, she always been there for me, but I feel like she always been there for me because she wasn't there for her, right? So she was just like, she called her and she was like, oh, I didn't mean to call you. I meant to call your brother, and just hung up. And like, when my mama voiced over how she felt, it was kind of nonchalant, like, oh, she always did it. But I could tell, like, I'm empathic. I can feel, I could see that you hurting behind that shit. So it's just that you really gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the word I'm looking for? You gotta hold people accountable, but at the same time, you gotta understand the trauma, right? So for me, I feel like I was holding people accountable, but I wasn't fully understanding the trauma. So that, therefore, it was a little bit of resentment left because I was too kind of inner focused and I wasn't all the way looking at the whole aspect. I mean, I did look at it, but I wasn't looking at it deep enough to where I didn't release that resentment. I still had some. So really understanding that too, it's like, and this is what I tell a lot of my clients too, it'd be like, okay, I may be the bad guy in your story, but you may be the bad guy in my story. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know how somebody is perceiving it. And then when it comes to perception is so different when it comes to every person. It's damn near different for everybody, right? But at the same time, that don't make it no easier. That doesn't, just because I know you done been through something don't mean, you know, because two wrongs don't make it right? But that's when it comes of the love vibration. You know, you got to bring the love into the situation. And I feel like as I started to really just analyze her and observe her and just be quiet more and just watch, I was just understanding that, like I even feel like most of it is like, you know what you did to me. You know how you treated me. So you try to make up with monetary thing. Like, and that was the thing with my family. Like, that was another thing that I feel like transferred over to my relationships, was that, oh, when we got into it, or my parents did something right to me, there was never no apology. They didn't ever voice things to me. They never said sorry. They never used their words. It was, oh, let me get you this. Let me buy you this. Let me do this for you. So it's like, if you're not saying sorry to me, I'm not really even understanding that. Did you, like, what's going on here? Was I wrong? Was you wrong? So even when I was right, I'm still thinking I was wrong because there was no clarity. You just bought me something. So it was just like, you know what I mean? And then that equates to, okay, is that love, or, So it was just deep last night. And then even now understanding that, and now I understood myself a little better when it comes to my friends and my personal relationships, where I was holding barriers in between of trauma, of wondering, like, is this person gonna snake me? Is this gonna do this? Is this gonna happen? Is it like, what's gonna happen? Like, are they loyal? Are they not? Da, da, da. And all year, I've been having a lot of disloyal shit going on, right? So, and we know everything is a reflection. And with me, like, really understanding that shit, I've been observing and, like, trying to see, like, okay, well, what is it that I need to change? And even, like, since this year started, I've been heavy on it. So me actually seeing the change in them, literally from me changing my thought process about them. Like, fuck what they saying, fuck all the bullshit that they saying, because that's an old manifestation. Now this week I started like, okay, well, they want to love me, they want to do for me. Now this came from me loving on myself first, though. Like, I've been focused on a lot of self-love, giving to myself. You so welcome. Thank you. Yes, and like, I feel like, because on the actual full moon, I had the download of that I run from situations because I feel like I'm used to being alone. Even how I talked about being a child, always being alone, always being on my own. So in relationships, it would be so easy for me to take flight. I wouldn't stay to stick, you know what I'm saying? So I was looking at that first, and I was just like, damn, like, where am I getting that from? Like, why am I so flighty? Why do I always want to, you know what I'm saying? I'd be quick to be like, you said what? Because I'm going to be out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you did this piece. Like, I'd be quick to walk out on a friendship, relationship, whatever. Like, and then I realized, like, Spirit was like, that's your shadow. Because, everything's a reflection. And I was just like, damn. So this is why I can't manifest no real relationships that's lasting. Because I'm constantly in my head thinking about some fucked up shit. But I'm thinking about some fucked up shit because I was treated fucked up. You feel me? Like, so it's like, okay, so understanding that, bringing it back to understanding the pattern. That was my pattern. And this year I said, I'm not doing that. I said, and I wasn't even really identifying. Is that? Bro, I remember my ex like that song to me. I was just like, I'm like, I ain't no motherfucking runner, nigga. You the runner. And always want to point my finger. That was something else I watched my mama do right now. Like, even this morning before I'm about to record a video, like, a whole just, I'm like, girl, like, I was just looking at it like, yep, a spade is a spade. Look at you doing exactly what the fuck I'm about to heal from, and I'm about to tell these folks about. Like, and hopefully it will invoke something in your spirit to work on yourself, right? But even things have changed. Like, as I think it to be better and love on myself and have more respect for myself and speak up for myself and step into my dark feminine energy, because we are light and dark, it's been balancing. But I feel like I was being real meek about things. I was being real passive. I was being real, like, even with my career, and like just being so passive and being so, and even just being so passive and meek would turn into being passive aggressive, would turn into exploding. Like, what's going on? Like, and I would be so angry sometimes I wouldn't even know how I would get there. And when I analyzed myself being angry around Christmas time, I was like, and I said, this is real personal, because why is you getting angry like this? Like, why is somebody making you come out your character and come out your body like this? Yes, and literally like just looking at the reflection of who raised me and looking at, and it would be like, I ain't gonna lie, like it just was kind of disgusting at the same time because it's just like, what the fuck? But we gotta have that strength. Like this is a real strength. Like as an adult, for me to be sitting up under y'all, dealing with y'all bullshit, ultimately leading to my healing, it was worth it. But goddamn, you feel me? And lots of times too, it was, I seen a shift a little bit, but it ain't even no big shift. I just been seeing a shift, so I'm like, oh, I know this shit working. Eventually, I know at least it'll be a respect. That's all I need is a respect. I don't give a fuck what you believe now. Let that go. And that's another thing too. I feel like that was another reason why anger was coming up for me, because I feel like too, even as like spiritualists and shit like that, like we always want to help people and we want them to take the advice, and it can be frustrating when they don't, or even if they ask you for advice. Like even my mom, she'll ask me for advice, and I just be like, you know what I believe? Like, why are you asking me? This gonna be an argument, but still, like being able to shape it in that way for you and feed it up to you, and not hold an attachment for you to use it. Like I'm gonna do my job and you do your part, and I'm not gonna attach myself to wanting you to be where I'm at, because everybody's on their journey, everybody's doing the best they can do, right, with what they got. But I feel like just I had to really get that understanding, like, okay, I'm like that self-care, I feel like really was solidifying, like I just got me. And even like when I first like came out, like I was always in relationships and stuff, I never really spent time to myself. And like this year was like time to myself. Like last year, 2022, was a whole year for myself, and it brought about all this shit and showed me all this shit and all this reflection of how it was manifesting in my life. And I'm just like, this year I was like, yeah, see, it's gonna be a change. Cause even then, even still noticing, like releasing the thoughts of wondering what somebody gonna do, that's not my problem. That was what came up officially on the full moon. Like, if you want a real relationship, you want a real friendship, you want a real connection, then you have to be 100% in. Now what? First, of course, we're gonna have our boundaries, like I talk about in my love yourself, heal yourself, all that. We're gonna have our boundaries. We're gonna protect ourselves, but we're gonna come with 100% good intentions. Oh yes, thank you. I'm gonna once I post it, I'm gonna put it in the description box. But if my other videos got it. But after I post this one, after I get off, I'm about to get off and come back. But after I get off, I'm gonna post it and put it in the description box. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's like once I was able to really just understand that and really master and understand, like I'm the master of my reality, and take away the attachment of wanting people to do shit. Like, it's about me. It's about me. And that's my goal. Like, I really want y'all to understand that once we change ourselves, everything is going to start to change. When I tell y'all, even like last night, I'm finna come back and talk about how it went into my relationship and how it manifested into my relationship. And it literally, like, when I was doing shrooms, I swear to God, my vision was getting clearer. I literally felt like a zombie that woke up. Like, and I'm not even joking. And I just did that last year. But I've been practicing spirituality. So it's a process. So thinking about that too, of like, I done did all this work in this process, and I'm just now getting here, So having that understanding of like, oh, thank you. I appreciate that so much. But having that understanding of why I just heard Michael Jackson in my head. But having that understanding of like, I gotta be the energy that I want to receive, and literally, not half-heartedly, not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. No, I gotta really be 100%. And at the end of the day, nobody else can hurt me, because number one, I'm God in my own reality. My other video I posted, I'm the main character. This is my story. You're not gonna. Yes, it's levels, and like really over and understanding. I am the ruler of this reality. I'm God. Would God sit here and talk back and forth with you about Christianity and all this bullshit? No, he wouldn't. He not going back and forth. He said what he said. I'm God, so I'm not going back and forth with you. Like, but not in a disrespectful way, but in a way of like, you're not gonna cast your pearls upon swine, right? You're not gonna give somebody something that they're not gonna even grasp. Why am I wasting my time and my energy when you're not even gonna grasp this? And when I break down how it was in my relationship, that shit was just like last night I was just like, what the fuck? But also too, I did a lot of inner child work, like as in literally visualizing myself as a child, visualizing my future self, and my future self. And this is something I've been doing for like a month. Off and on, no, I ain't been that consistent, but I've been doing it for a month. But I would have my future self grab me within the pain that I was going through, grab the inner child, and we all hold hands and we support each other. And when you think about time not being real, I told y'all time is an illusion, time is a spell. It just really just, once you gather that and you pull yourself out the past, you give yourself what you needed. What was it that you didn't get? I didn't get the validation. I didn't get that affirmation as a child. Nobody heard me. So I give that to myself. I wake up, I tell myself I'm worthy. Affirmations. But actually speaking, that's why I tell a lot of people, you have to speak. Spelling is good, but when you speaking, you spelling, right? When we speaking and we saying things, we spelling. And that was another thing I feel like why that thing was so triggering to me when she was calling me them names. I'm like, you're not about to speak over my life like that. Like that shit was just like, no. But yeah, I gotta go pee. I need a second. But yeah, y'all, I love y'all. I'm finna come back and tell y'all how it was fucking up my relationship dynamic and how I realized that, whoa, wait, I might have been the problem. Am I the drama? Am I the drama? Right? Like, but yes. And I love y'all. Love yourself. I'm about to add everything in the description box. I'm about to post this. And I'm going to see y'all when I come back. I hope y'all have a blessed, abundant day. I love y'all. And I appreciate y'all support so much. Peace.